Good day, people. Today we're going to understand the likelihood and probability. Alyssa and Cherry spin the pointer and record the color that it lands on. The table shows their results after 100 spins. How can Alyssa and Cherry explain their results? So I'll display the table soon, but first we'll discuss about probability first. So as you look at the spinner, you can see that it has 4 colors. It has red, yellow, green, and blue. Alright, so we can say that it has 4 outcomes. So it has 4 outcomes. When you spin that spinner, you can only get one of these 4 outcomes. So it has 4 outcomes. So the 4 outcomes would be red or blue, red, yellow, and green. So since it has 4 outcomes, and we can see that all 4 outcomes are equally shared, so this pointer is shared into 4 equal parts for the 4 outcomes. So we can conclude that this spinner is a fair spinner because all the outcomes are equal, and we're going to prove that. So to find the probability of each color occurring, we know that probability would be part of a whole. So you must remember that from proportion. So part of a whole, or the probability of an event is the number of desired outcome over the number of possible outcomes. So from that, we can conclude that the probability of getting a blue, since there's 1 blue out of the 4 colors, we can say 1 out of 4 would have been the probability. And we know that 1 over 4 is the same thing as 25%. So we write probabilities in their simplest form or as a percent. The probability of getting red would be the same 1 over 4 because it's 1 red out of the 4 are 25%. The probability of getting yellow is also 1 out of 4 because it's 1 yellow out of the 4 colors, which is also 25%. And the probability of getting green is also 1/4 or 25%. So since all outcome has a probability that has the same probability, which is 1/4 or 25%, we can conclude that it's a fair spinner. Okay, let's look at what they got when they recorded what they got. So this is the table. We can see that out of the 100 times they spin the spinner, 23 times they got red, 24 times they got yellow, 27 times they got green, and 26 times they got blue. So if you notice, when they actually did the experiment, it was close to the probability, but somewhere a little less or a little more. But it was always close to the probability. How might the probability of the pointer landing on a given color change for the spinner shown at right? So this was our spinner before, where it had 4 equal sections. If you notice now, our spinner has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. So how would the probability change? We see that the whole would be 4 now, 8 instead of 4, it would be 8 now. But so the probability of getting a red would be, we have 2 red out of the 8, so that's 2 out of 8, which is the same as 1/4 or 25%. So even though the number of sections changed, we notice that the probability didn't change because we have the same, we have 2 reds, 2 yellow, 2 green, 2 blue, which is 1/4 of 8, or 1/4 of the 8 sections. Okay, so the probability didn't change. Alright, so this was a key concept of the lesson. The probability that something will occur is a value from 0 to 1, which describes its likelihood. You can write probability as a ratio such as 1 out of 2 or a half, or as a percent such as 50%. So here we have our probability number line. So if you notice, our probability starts from 0 and it goes all the way to 1. If you get a probability of 0, it means that the likelihood of that occurring is impossible. If you get a probability of 1, you know that the likelihood of that activity happening is certain to happen. If you get a probability of half or 50%, you know that it's equally likely that event would occur. Alright, so let us do this question now. Carrie will roll a number cube with side that's labeled 1 to 6. We all know what a number cube is. Some people call it a die or dice. Alright, Kari will roll a number cube with side that's labeled 1 to 6. What is the probability that she will roll a 2? So we know there are 6 sections on the number cube, but there's only 1 2, so that's 1 out of 6, or 16.666%. So the likelihood of this happening is unlikely. So if she rolls the number cube, it's very unlikely she would get a number 2. What's the probability that she will roll a number 7? We know there are 6 numbers on that number cube, but how many numbers are less than 7? All 6 numbers are less than 7. So we can conclude that that will be a 100%. So this is certain to happen. So every time you roll that number cube, you would get a number less than 7. So this is certain to happen. What's the probability that she will roll a number greater than 6? So we know that there are 6 numbers on the number cube. How many numbers are greater than 6? No number is greater than 6. So this is 0%. So we know this is impossible to occur. So no matter how many times you roll that number cube, you will never get a number greater than 6. So it's impossible to occur. Thank you for watching.